few years ago, my sister Lisa and her husband Kevin were going to sell their house. Typical houses in their neighborhood were taking anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to sell. And they couldn't purchase their new house until they sold the old one. They could have thought, too bad, it's going to be a long wait. We picked the wrong time to sell. Instead, like Isaac, they believed they had favor in the famine. And they prayed, asked God that their house would not only sell quickly, but that they would get close to their asking price. The first day it was on the market, a lady came in and said, "I'll buy it, and if you'll take it off the market, I'll pay you more than you're asking for it." God is not limited by the conditions, He's limited by our thinking. Why don't you take the limits off of Him? Quit thinking of all the reasons why you can't be blessed, can't accomplish your dreams, why you won't get well, not meet the right person. You may not see a way, but God has a way. When you believe, all things are possible. Isaac was so blessed, the scripture says, the Philistines became jealous of him. The same people that were making fun of him for planning in the famine, the same ones that were telling him he was wasting his time, now they were upset that he was being blessed. It's funny how people that won't do what you're willing to do will become jealous when you're blessed and they're not. You dared to take the step of faith. You dared to pray, to stretch, to plant, to believe. Now you're seeing increase in favor. Don't be surprised when the Philistines show up. The naysayers are not happy when they see you rising higher. They'll find fault, criticize, try to bait you into conflict. Just run your race. It's not about you, it's about the favor on your life. Don't let the chatter distract you. The negative comments, the jealousy, the envy, you don't have to answer to people. You don't have to prove yourself. Stay focused on your goals and God will take care of the Philistines. God will take care of the opposition. In the scripture, a man named Zerubbabel was rebuilding the temple in Jerusalem. It had been destroyed years earlier, and a king had issued a decree to have it rebuilt. Everything was going great. Laid the foundation, built the altar, then the opposition came. People that didn't want it rebuilt. They started bribing the workers, paying people to cause trouble, stirring up all kinds of turmoil. Zerubbabel could have thought, God, I'm doing what you asked me to do, but I have all this opposition. These powerful people are coming against me. It didn't look like he had favor. It looked like his enemies were getting the best of him. But you can't see what God is doing behind the scenes. It may look like it's going to stop you, but if you'll stay in faith, God will use it to promote you. The people opposing sent a letter to their king lying about Zerubbabel, saying these people that are rebuilding the temple are evil people. They're going to try to overthrow you. They're not going to pay taxes. It's going to be a big mistake. The king asked Zerubbabel who gave him permission to rebuild it. He told the king, we are servants of the Most High God. There was a temple here built by an Israeli king years earlier, and he issued a decree to have it rebuilt. The king had his men search the royal archives, and they found the decree. He called the opposition in and said, do not hinder these people. Let them rebuild the temple. Not only that, I decree that you are to help them. You are to use my funds to pay the full construction cost, and you are to take them food and supplies every day. They meant it for harm. God turned it for good. You may have people and circumstances coming against you. God knows how to cause it to backfire. They were trying to stop him. They ended up having to help him. Without their opposition, he wouldn't have had the temple totally paid for. Not only that, they had to bring them food every day. God said, He'll prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. Sometimes He'll even have your enemies serve you dinner. I can hear Zerubbabel saying, can I get some ketchup with my French fries? God knows how to vindicate you. Those people that are trying to hold you down, stir up trouble, stay in peace. It's going to backfire. The psalmist said, the trap the enemy set for you, they will fall in themselves. God is working in ways that you cannot see. It may look like opposition. The truth is, it's the hand of God setting you up for promotion. We see this with Joseph. He was betrayed by his family, falsely accused, put in prison. Didn't look like he had favor. But all of that opposition, the bad breaks, the unfair situations, that was God directing his steps. One day he saw what had been happening behind the scenes, how the people that had tried to stop him, how all that opposition had moved him into his destiny. It was all divinely orchestrated. When you face things that you don't understand, difficult challenges, that doesn't mean that somehow you've stepped out of favor. God's forgotten about you. It's a setup. It's all a part of God's plan to take you to the next level.
Jesus and Peter climbed back into the boat. The wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshiped him, saying, truly, you are the Son of God. It was like they were saying, truly, we get it. As if feeding the 5,000, we didn't get it then. No, we get it now. As if when you healed those lepers, we didn't get it then. Or when you healed that dead girl and she raised, no, it's like truly, we see with a whole new revelation, God, of who you are. This whole experience, this whole storm gave his followers a new revelation of who Jesus is. In fact, if you read about it, every time the disciples were in a storm or they were in a problem, every time when Jesus shows up in the storm or stands up in a boat and says, peace be still in the storm, they end up with a greater revelation of who he really is. This is what I want you to write down. Your place of desperation can become your place of revelation. The place of desperation, where you are most desperate, can actually become a place of revelation where you will see God, you will see Jesus, you will see his power revealed in your life in a way that you've never known. And the only way you're gonna know it is as you stay in the boat and you get across the other side, you see a revelation of who he is. He wants to reveal himself to you in power and strength so that you can be who God created you to be. He's gonna get you to the other side. There's three things I want you to do if you're in a storm. Three things we can do. Number one, you gotta run to God. The first place you gotta run is run to God, run to Jesus, right? It's amazing how we run to our friends. We run to our therapists. Therapists are great, I have one, right? But we run to them first, right? We run to the refrigerator. Oh, Jesus, yeah. By the way, how many Oreo cookies did you eat during the... Don't even eat Oreo cookies. I'm like, when we're in a storm, right? We run to other places to find comfort. Run to God first, okay? Jesus said in Matthew 11, he says, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden. You're worn out. I'm gonna give you rest, but you gotta come to me. So don't let your pain push you away from God. Let it push you closer to God. So how do we run to Jesus? Man, you run to Jesus, run to God in prayer. You can pray all day. You don't have to stop your prayer. Just keep your prayer life going all day long. Stay in communion. You can call out to him today and begin that. Run to Jesus. If you're in a storm today, that's the first place you got to run. And we're going to give you a moment at all of our campuses. In just a second, we're going to open up our altars for a time of prayer where our prayer team and our prayer partners and our staff are going to pray for you. Whatever storm you're going through, we want to help you run to Jesus. The second thing is you got to run to God's family. You got to run to God, you got to run to God's family. Notice in the boat, not one of the disciples were by themselves. They had each other. You're not alone. You got God and you got God's family. God has put his people in your path during your problem for a purpose. There's so many people I know that I'll talk to them and they say, yeah, they were going through this trouble or struggle and they decided, they didn't want to go to church because, my life was so messed up. And I'm like, as if we have it all together, dude. We all got junk we're dealing with here. This is where you need to be, a place where you're loved, a place where you're accepted, a place that's gonna cover you, a place that's gonna help you, a place that's gonna pray with you, no matter what you walk through. Run to God, run to God's family, and run to God's promises. God promises to never leave you, to never forsake you. God promises never to give you more than you can handle. God promises to walk with you through the darkest of valleys.